Is there really any such thing as green amethyst? Now, my name's Luke, and what I do is I teach people about crystals and minerals, and a large proportion of that seems to be underpinned by me debunking or discrediting things that people say throughout the industry that are either wrong or don't make any fucking sense. And this is a perfect example of that. Now, green amethyst is basically Prasiolite, or at least it's supposed to be, which is a green variety of quartz. Now, this occurs in nature quite rarely. If you have any Prasiolite, aka green amethyst, in your collection, I can almost guarantee that what you have in your collection is actually just a cooked variety of amethyst. And some of you might think that cooked variety of amethyst is baked amethyst, aka citrine, when in actual fact, the amount of heat that is applied is variable and you can get different colors based on the amount of heat. And one of those colors just so happens to be sort of a yellowy green, which then gets sold as Prasiolite, which is a real thing and not to be confused with Prasiolite, which belongs to the chlorite group, which is an entirely different material, and also not to be confused with Pras quartz, which is an almost organic looking variety of quartz, which has got chlorite and actinolite inclusions in there. So Prasiolite is a green variety of quartz that does exist, but referring to it as green amethyst doesn't make any fucking sense. And it doesn't make any fucking sense in the same way that calling something pink amethyst doesn't make any fucking sense. However, you could perhaps get away with calling something pink amethyst easier than you can get away with calling it green amethyst. There are other iterations of quartz that are green, things like aventurine, for example, which exhibit greens, but there's also other things going on, sort of like little mica inclusions going on inside that give it this sort of aventurescent property. So aventurine and Prasiolite, they are not synonymous with each other. Prasiolite is an iteration or has derived, etymologically speaking, from the word leek and stone. So ite, which comes from lithos, and then praise, which is rooted in the Greek word for leek, which is a tip of the hat to the color. So leek colored stone. So this is a material that does occur naturally within nature, although it must be pointed out that this occurs very, very rarely. However, what you're usually being sold almost exclusively in the context of green amethyst or Prasiolite, however it's being described, is almost always a heated variety of quartz. When someone refers to it as green amethyst, they are always mischaracterizing the word amethyst itself, which in an etymological sense is a color iteration of quartz that means fucking purple.